Hey, what's going on, people? Um, Actually, I wasn't really paying attention to the market for the first half of the morning session. I had some other things I had to work on. I was planning not to even trade at all today, but then I saw an opportunity. Actually, the initial opportunity that I could have taken advantage of, I missed it because while I was working on the other thing, while I was looking at my at the charts through TD Ameritrade or through Thinkorswim on my iPad, but something happened with the app, and then by the time I realized that I wasn't, getting the up to date data, um, the you know the setup had already, passed where I would have got in. So I missed that move, and I kept watching it, and eventually I saw a place to like take a scalp. I took a scalp in that area. I get into that a little later. So just looking at the markets today, all the indices. You see, we had some nice sell off at the open, and um, it looked like it wanted to trade bearish. It was trying to the bears were trying to take the market down. I'm sure a lot of bears got trapped in here. That's why once we started breaking back to the long side, we had this strong. This is a 4 minute chart here, so we had a strong candle come in here. So I'm sure there was a lot of stops that were hanging around in this area. So after that, we hung around a little bit where there was we was seeing some rejection at at that time the previous high of the day, and eventually it ended up taking another. Well, this is the one I'm looking at right now is the Russell. So and they're all pretty much the same, but eventually we kept climbing higher once we surpassed that so looking at the Nasdaq, we broke the high of the previous high of the day at that time, retested it, and took another had another climb higher. So looking directly at the Nasdaq, um, I'm just gonna start with the daily chart today. All right, so right now we're forming another strong bullish candle. We had a nice bounce off that daily 9 AMA. We definitely looks like we can continue climbing higher so far. However, if we take out the low of this of yesterday's candle, that'll be a good signal um, for some bears to come in and for us to trade lower. But as of right now, everything is looking bullish. All right, so looking at the intraday chart, pretty much the same thing. At that, like I mentioned earlier, had a nice little sell-off. Came into some support. Some bears tried to come in there, which is why we had such a strong pop in the opposite direction once we started trading back bullish. And right now we're kind of hanging out sideways. It is Friday, so typically once you only get typically we only see one move like this on a Friday. However, of course, the market it can do what it wants to do, but right now it looks like we're seeing a lot of resistance up here, so we may end up having a decent little pullback, or trading sideways, or maybe slightly bearish. To close out today's session. So the scalp that I took earlier, once it was almost kind of a FOMO trade because I almost got in too early. I was looking at this candle here. Matter of fact, let me zoom in. All right. So I was looking at this candle here at 11:16, and I was thinking to go long here. However, if I would have went long there, I would have got filled. It would have pulled back and stopped me out. So I just waited a little bit longer. I let this candle form here just to be patient. It was when I was looking at it, I was thinking that it was a really aggressive. It would have been a really aggressive play. So I didn't feel like it was worth the risk to actually go through with the trying to go long there. So I waited, put my order in here. It hung around. in this area for a while before it finally popped higher. And once I saw it, go green, it wasn't um, it wasn't continuing to go longer, that strong. So I went ahead and just took myself out of the trade. Got 3 ticks on the trade there, and it would have ended up being in hindsight, I can see it would have ended up being a scalp anyway. So not really a terrible trade there. And then you can see from there we continued to kind of bounce around sideways, and then before we popped out had a strong. So it's really choppy at this time. And so overall for me, not really a great week. It's not a terrible. It wasn't a terrible week either. I'm red for the week about $50. But that's from some of, like, maybe half of it is the market, because the market was really choppy at the beginning of the week. But most of it was me just being too hesitant. Right now we're continuing. It looks like we're trying to keep pushing higher. The bulls are trying to push the market higher right now. But anyway, most of this week was I could have did much better if I would have been more aggressive and just traded my strategy. Wasn't thinking too much. So it's something to take into next week. It is good to end the week on a green day, so I don't have that cloud over my head over the weekend. I can actually, do some studying, work on some other things, and enjoy the weekend. So hope y'all enjoy the weekend as well, and I will see you guys Monday. Deuces.